Alright, so we're back at it with the M37 from RE7. So last time we got a lot of internal mechanisms working. Now I think all we have left is to make sure everything can fit inside of those. And by that, I'm thinking this will need to make some room for this, so those pieces don't collide together. And also our shell needs to be able to fit in here as well. And it does look like there's a decent amount of room for the shell to fit, hopefully. Let's see. Let's take the diameter. 21.2, so we'll probably need at least 22 millimeters for it to slide in easily enough. Let's check what that is over here. This is the outside. Alright. So we can take these two measurement, right? Should be these two, I think. So yeah, 27.2. Okay, so that, at least this area should be able to handle the shell. Now we gotta get it around this guy. So let's see about where that's gonna be. With snap-on, I'm gonna hit E for extrude, G along the x-axis, 19.5. So that is not going to be enough. And the only thing we can really do is shrink the shell, which sucks because it's already kind of small. But needs must. So how do I want to do that? Let's check what that is again. Or if we can somehow shrink this at all. Because if we glued this on, and this is only going back and forth, we might not even need this area, and that's 1.1. It's very thin. So we already got our space back here for it to go back and forth. Now we gotta... So that's gonna want to go through that. So we definitely need to cut away some space for on our ramp here. So it's going to be out, right? So when you put in the shell, the pump's going to be out, and then you're going to rack it by pumping the shell. And at this point, this ramp would be down. So basically, just got to clear out some of this. And the shell should be wide enough to sit on here afterwards. And all it's going to do up there is get shot out when you pump it by the spring. That also means we got to create a sort of curve over here in the back so that can happen. And I think we also want to shape this slide a little better. How are we going to tackle this? So, could potentially just get rid of that for now. Can always put that back later. I think if the shell, let's check it out here. Springs up here. How are we going to get the shell to shoot back out here? We need that curve. But should we curve the ramp or should we curve the main component here? Have like a curved chute. And if we do that, we might have to do both. This is going to get tricky. So we do have to figure that out first. So with the ramp, got our spring that's going to go up here and push that out of the way. Then maybe we can curve this upper part, because when the spring's pushing, it's going to be pushing at this upward angle, depending on how we curve our ramp. So the curve would have to be up here, which already kind of happens, but we might need a more severe curve just to turn the shell outward so it will pop out rather than getting stuck in the back. Alright, so the current idea is to use a sphere. Let's see how wide this is here. I forgot which ones are inside, and we have that cut there. Okay, so maybe use this side instead. That's a little more intact. So I got 27.2. So the 3D cursor, let's get that centered. View, 0, 0, and 0. So now that's dead center. That's Shift A, and then we will create a, no, not a circle, a sphere. And how wide is this? 27.2 divided by 2 should put us the exact size we need to be to fit. Oh, getting some frame rate drops here. Oh, let's turn auto merge on before that causes any problems. Hopefully it did not already. It seems alright. And I'm going to rotate this sphere over on its side 90 degrees. And then we're going to clear out one side of it. Just got rid of those. Let me go over that again. Alt left click to get on that. Get this edge loop or vertice loop, right click, delete those vertices. Then I'm going to click on this one and hit L to select everything it's connected to. Right click, delete again. And then I was thinking we could get rid of this side. Let's do I was going to do side of active, but since this is all one piece, it would select everything. So we'll do it a little more manually. First thing I want to do is move it up a bit. GY, let's move it a little closer so we can actually see. And then I'm going to select this one and this one just off the center. Let's get rid of this vertice selection. Right click, delete, and then let's get rid of this as well. L, select all, and right click and delete. So now I'm thinking this will help generate our curve that we need. And I'm thinking we'll just use half, so maybe we get rid of this as well. Let's get rid of those. Left click L, delete vertices. And also this line. That's just me, I guess. That looked like it was made up of multiple vertices for some reason, but it's not. Let's get rid of that. So now we'll have this that can ride on top of this without any issues. And pushing up against that should... I think we'll have to stretch it out a bit though. Let's see. Let's make this our active vertice and use that as our pivot point. Then we'll check over here. And I'm going to hit scale and then Y. I'm going to stretch that out a bit so we can get that curve a little earlier. And that'll probably need to be up here-ish. And we don't need all of this, because that door stops around here. So maybe we can get rid of this. Let's make sure. Maybe one over. Then right-click, delete. And I'm going to hit L on that vertice, right-click, delete. And then we'll close this up. That way that should fit in there. Those two parts can slide right by each other without any issue. But is that going to be enough? If it turns like this, then it'll be angled more downward than outward. That might be a problem. So what we need is the whole thing to turn at like a 90-degree angle in order to encourage that round to pop out the way we want. Let me just check something here. GX'd. Let's get proportional editing on. Not really what I'm looking for. Maybe instead of a sphere, we needed a cylinder. So let's try, oh, we can get a cylinder. We get a circle. So we can control it a bit better. 5 by 2. Circle. Let's get this guy over here. Up. Proportional editing off. GY. Dragging it over. And problem is this is going to have to move. Along this pivot point. 3D cursor, like so, and that's going to bump into basically any curve that we put up there. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. Round comes up. Up. We want it to curve its way out to the side, which might already happen just because of the shape of it. But we need a stopper over here so it doesn't get stuck in the back. But at the same time, I can't interfere with this movement. Unless it moves also. So the way to get this even in here will be going from under here, like this. So I wonder if we can put the curve up here on this part. This is proving to be a tricky prop, but I think that may be possible. It's not going to be a huge ramp. Let's go ahead and apply our mirror for this guy. And then, since we already have our circle, let's go ahead and separate this. So I think we'll leave our main thing alone, and we will attach this circle. Let's hide this for now. And this as well. I think all we really need is just a little bit of a curve over here to encourage that motion. Let's shrink you down. I wonder if it should be more like this. And we can use this. Oh, get an active element like this. Create more of a curve. But this paddle is going to get in the way, and we're going to have to end up removing some of it anyway. Dang. But this won't be here because this will have to be removed for the paddle. Well, let's subdivide. I'm going to use loop tools, create a more even circle. And maybe create maybe a more rounded curve. So it's more likely to pop out the side. Decisions. Let's give that a try. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to get rid of all of these. Click delete. Then I'm going to knife project our curve. Let's try to line this up a little better. GX, turn snap on, making this our active GX, and we'll snap it over here. That one we'll just have to make do. That, edit mode, control left click, mesh, knife project. And I don't think we need to cut through for this one. And then we can hit E to extrude, go upward a bit. And let's flatten this out with S for scale, Z 0. This, something like this. So when the bullet comes up, it slides along here and flops out over that away. That's the basic idea anyway. Let's go ahead and subdivide this to create a bit of a wall. GX or GY. Let's clear this out. And take this upward. I don't even think it can be this tall. It doesn't need to be because the shell can't get back there since it's too small a space now. So it would have to ride this rail outward. Hmm. But at the same time, let's get our main back, because I'm worried that if it's too tall or even close to it, it's going to bump into the roof. But so far, doesn't look like it will. So that is a plus. See if this part's going to work the way we want. Let's get our main back and check on the shell size. So it'd be up here, and it would definitely have to ride that because there's nowhere to go. Still a little worried that it would get stuck in here because of this curve. Despite that, though, this curve isn't going to be here long. I think the curve would have to come in front of this curve here. So that's about everything, I think. So I might even have to start at the very beginning. So let's auto merge that on and snap that GUI over here. And that should now be well in front of that curve. Might do. Let's check on that pivot. It's getting kind of close there. What we could do is just lower this a bit. And then kind of even that out. So that doesn't bump into that roof like I don't want. It's not very pretty. Let's hide that. Oop. Ignore that. That might work. I mean, this is going to be ugly, but this is going to be inside of the frame, so it's not like you're going to see it anyway. We're going to want to make this a little more solid. So I guess we need to get rid of get rid of those. This is weird. Okay, yeah, this definitely isn't going to be the prettiest part of our prop, but I think as long as it's functional, we can forgive that. With these selected, hopefully we'll be able to then bridge the edge loops. Oh, get rid of that. Bridge the edge loops. Yeah. Why do you look like this? I'll manually do this one. GY, and that fuses right to that one. No problem. Seems okay. Let's get that going. Try bridging that again. Ooh. We made some weird additions there. It's still got this dip over here for some reason. What are you about? You know what? I don't think we care all that much about that particular... Oh, poop. We actually need to thicken this up anyway, so... We're getting rid of all of this. In any case. Alright, let's subdivide here. Get rid of this face. Pull that up a bit. See how wide that is. Let's make that 1.5. Just to give it a little more strength. I'll put this up there, close that face off. And... ah, dang. You got rid of all these edges. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, holding Control Z. Ah, that's a problem. Had all this selected. Okay. Getting rid of these once more. Edges. Subdivide. Get rid of that face. This up. 1.5. Let's say it's not one. Alright. Extrude this guy. Put a face in there. And then we'll take all of these. And actually, just bring this over here. Like so. And then all these. Let's get rid of those. E to extrude, right click GY. Put this up here. And then we'll subdivide. Well, that one doesn't need it. But we'll subdivide here. No. That doesn't need it either. We can use this one. We'll just close up these faces. This now serves literally no purpose. Wonder if there's a way to... I mean, I guess we could flatten it, but it doesn't really matter now. And we could take all of these. Let's take these vertices here. Here, extrude. Oop. Somehow we got another one. Got these, don't need those. So E, extrude, G, Z, and then S, Z, 0. Flatten them out. Decided to go down there. 3D cursor, let's go to active element. Or maybe median point. And we'll snap that here and then close this up. Yeah, so this good. Let's pull this over here and then rise that up. Raise that up. And then we can take this one and we can subdivide here. GZ, GY. Snap that over here. Now we have nicer, smoother faces that we can just cover in. Okay. Okay. So now we have the curvature. Hopefully that will do okay for our purposes. Let's collect these two edges and this one that seems to be looking kind of awkward. I guess we need these too. Get rid of these selections and let's see if we can bridge this. No, okay. What's going on over here? Alright, let's try that again. There we go. There we go. And A, Shift N, recalculate those normals. Doesn't look like there's even faces in here, so we'll just manually put those in. Let's get rid of that. Get a little cleanup. And so we need to create this ramp. Bevel. That seems like it'd be way too sharp. Where's our main? And that needs to be behind that point, but this could actually be a little longer. Let's get this. And we'll put it right behind that area. Let's see where that is. GY. About 1.6. That's plenty of room. Plenty of room. I think that's fine. I'm going to rotate this maybe 45 degrees or so. Take it down and try to make a smoother transition. So let's bevel these edges. So that shell will hopefully slide easily up there. It's all very experimental, so it's difficult to say what's going to happen, if anything's going to work. Hiding that up. Let's go ahead and close these faces then. Should be about that. Now we got to cut out. Where's the rest of the breech panel? There it is. And now we got to cut out a space for this. So guess we can get rid of. Let's go in X-ray mode, and I guess this area. And basically everything up here. Everything up here need to be removed. And hopefully that won't screw things up too much. Huh. Let's hide these guys. Need to restore some faces here. Let's go up to here. And over here. Let's put a face back on this area. Released. not these guys. At least we have that. And so we go straight back with an extrusion. That over here. Could straighten this out with SZ0 to flatten that. So it'd have to be like just a straight cutout because that has to go all the way across. Let's get our panel back out here, and that should be plenty of space. Let's see how much that actually is. 2 millimeters. So we do have the space. So if we just let's try SY0. And subdivide this GY here. Then we could just create a face connecting these. Right, and then we can fill this guy in. And then that's filled in. And this. Is this a flat wall? I doubt it. I doubt it. No. Let's hide you again, and this kind of sticks out. Let's create a flat wall. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay, so that's the edge. And then we can close this up. Don't want those. F. That should let that bit pass through here. And hopefully we'll eject the shell out of that direction. Given that our spring is actually flexible enough to push up this ramp. Oh yeah, we need a face up here. But I think it's about time we started printing. We do need to cut things up a little bit because we can't print this whole thing in one go. Let's see how long this is. Let's take these two. It's almost 200 millimeters. I'm pretty sure my printer can handle that length, but I'm a bit worried about it popping off the print bed since it is very thin. And I don't want to print on this side because we got all these holes here. So I'm thinking it needs to print from this side. And with this the way it is, that's going to be a little tricky. So what I'm going to do, let's take this outermost vertice and then push it under here. It's a bit straighter down. And with that done, let's go ahead and delete these. So up at like an awkward upward angle. So we'll take these. And we'll just go back here, GY, and snap it to that. And then take this edge. Whoop. Oh dear. A lot more than we needed. It's circle select with C, and then hold shift left click to deselect all of that. Then we'll right click, bridge these edge loops. And we eliminated our faces. Awesome. Let's put those back on there. Alt left click, and then hit F to fill that back in. Okay, now with this angled straight down, now we can bevel it a bit. Give it that shape that I'm pretty sure it has. Yeah, like that. And you know what I also want to do is bevel all these edges just a little bit, just to make it a little more comfortable to hold in the hand. And there's not much room to get much beveling done. This is not going to allow that at all, I don't think. Yeah, let's straighten this out. I'm going to subdivide these two. Where did that subdivision go? Is that it? No. Oh, it's right here. Alright, and we're going to put it directly over this guy on both sides. That way the bevel is a bit easier to attain. Let's fill in that face, and then fill in this face. That face, and this face. Alright, so now let's go for that bevel. I guess we don't need a bevel up there, really. Or probably here either. Just where your fingers are going to be touching it is where I want to get. You know what? I will anyway. Let's save this and then save as. You know what? Instead of doing that, I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate this whole thing. Call this pre-guard bevel. And then this one will be, well, if that one's pre, then this one has to be post. Just in case we ever want to come back, because beveling is easy, unbeveling not so much. So let's see how we do. Oh, let's hide the other one. It's overlapping a bit. Okay, let's get rid of these edge loops and see how we did. Oh, we missed some. Let's get these, those, these, and those. See, this will be a point of restriction. Right there. And I think we're looking pretty good on that bevel. Not noticing any weirdness. I think that'll be okay. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is divide these bits up a little bit. What is this? It's our bevel. Let's go ahead and merge that. Where'd it go? G, snap it on there. Snap it on there. And we will bevel, or we will separate things along here. Let's go to select, side of active, Y, and that's the stock. So I'm going to Shift D to duplicate, then I'll hit P, separate selection. And we got that now. So this one won't need it anymore. So we'll get this, right click, delete, then hit L anywhere on that one and delete that. So we got our stock and we got our main separated from it. So we should print this kind of like this with this face on the bed. And that should help keep things clean. We're going to need some support for this middle structure here, but that's about it. And for inside the trigger guard, and I guess just below the trigger guard. Because of that, let's Control Z to undo. And let's hide this. Put a face here. What do we got on the inside of that E? There's not a lot of room, but I do want to put either some PVC pipe or some steel rods in here to connect the stock and the main part. So the stock, and we'll probably want to print the stock in at least 2 pieces, maybe along this line here. Let's close up this face. How do we want to divide this? Because this is awkward. Let's see how long this is. GY, snap over there. Let's get edge links on. 150 is not bad. It's not bad. We can maybe get over here. Well, you know what we'll do? We'll Shift right click to get our 3D cursor here. Then we will open up Shift A, get ourselves a plane, maybe 200. We'll rotate it 90 degrees. Move it out here. P, separate selection. Get the stock in edit mode. Control left click on our plane. Then we'll knife project right through. Slice it in half. Do any more. And then just like with the other part, we'll select about half of it. Yeah, we got that. And Shift D to duplicate. P, separate selection. So now that bottom stock, and now we have the rest. So we'll get rid of this stock, and we'll call you the butt. There. Okay. Alright, so thinking PVC or steel rods. Let's stick these guys together. How much room do we have? Let's check. 30.6. I'm going to pull up my notepad. Has my hole diameters on it. If it will open, hole size, let's see. Yeah, so maybe some 3/4 pipe will be good for this part. Same as the barrel. 3/4 pipe, 27.2 millimeters. So let's get this. F3, cursor to active, Shift A. Let's get a circle. I already forgot the measurements. 27.2. 27.2 divided by 2. And I guess we already had that. Let's rotate over here. Kind of hide. Yeah, I guess hide that one. We'll do this one first. So we can do 1 or 2, or what might be better is to have a piece of pipe and a piece of steel rod. Well, actually, since this gets sucked in like this one might just be steel rod. So let's check the notes again. Some 3.7. So for our 1/8 inch steel rod, this only needs to be 3.7. So let's scale it down with S. .7 edges, and we'll have one up. Yeah, let's turn off snap. Get this guy up here, get this guy down here, and we'll have some steel rods going between those two components. So in order to create a face, let's get an edge in between there. Put some lines in between here. Fastest way. Let's gather these. All these, about half. Should be all of them. Oop. Which might be off. That's okay. Let's put an F on that for a face. And then gather these up. Oop. These, we don't want those. Let's get rid of edge loops so we can actually see our edge lengths. I got the wrong side of the circle again. Face. Now we got some place for those steel rods to poke into. And don't need this. Hit E to extrude. And go G, Y. For some reason that looks diagonal for a second, but that's fine. That's fine. Okay, and we don't need this edge. And that should be okay. Alright, I'm going to need to take a break for a minute. We'll get back to it in a sec.
And if you don't want to go through all this modeling, I do have the STL files needed to print all of my 3D printable props available to supporters over on my Patreon. We currently have over 40 props available and are adding more all the time. This prop will also be made available once it's finished. So if you'd like to skip the modeling and gain access to an entire armory of 3D printable props, check out my Patreon, link in the description. It is only $5 a month and you gain access to the entire armory of over 40 props. Staying a member ensures you get access to everything new added to the armory immediately and of course, very much helps support the channel. Speaking of supporting, we have to show our gratitude to M. John Simon, a real hero of the channel, supporting at the hero tier. Become a hero to get yourself special mention in these very videos, and as always, like and subscribe to ensure you never miss out on the next video. Until then, I have been Ken with Kenjutsu Bring It to Life, and I am out.